I have always wondered, is there a hidden secret to success? What makes a person resilient, strong, and deterred in their pursuit of greatness? What makes an entrepreneur? What part do experiences, the ups, the downs, the wins, and pitfalls contribute to success? Join me on this journey as I share these stories told by voices.
Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Voices. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Kadine Cooper. Kadine is a career transition coach, consultant, trainer, and speaker to ambitious women who are stuck on the corporate ladder. Her superpower is coaching managers and C suite level executives who experience the stress and impact of walking the tightrope between being a high achiever in the workplace and being their best at home for their family. Kadine helps you to use your intuitive skills and talents to regain clarity with your career goals, increase your confidence, and fine tune your assertive presence so you can lead a more fulfilling life, walk in your purpose, and show up unapologetic as your fierce self. So let's welcome Miss Kadine Cooper, affectionately known as Coach K. Welcome. Hello, Coach K.
Hello.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
I am well. Thank you so much for having me, Denard.
You are welcome. You're welcome. So, I would like you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we go into your life story.
Oh my gosh, about myself. So Kadine Cooper, based in Toronto, Canada, born and raised in Toronto, Canada. I love to travel. I have three beautiful boys. That keep me very, very busy. I don't know. It's easier if you ask me questions. I'm married. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm super passionate about women and empowering women. I'm super passionate about mental health and people taking care of themselves and practicing self-care. Yeah, and just want to see everybody win at life. We only get one life to live, and so I just super passionate about helping people to kind of set themselves on the right track to be successful.
That's interesting. So, you're in Canada.
I'm
I
in
love Canada.
Toronto.
So, can you tell everyone out there who's watching the show right now a little bit about yourself, where you grew up?
Where I
Just tell
grew
them about
up.
where you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Toronto. I live in the East End, so more the suburbs of the city right now. But I grew up in Toronto. I grew up in a little bit of, I would say, in what we would say is a bit of a rough neighborhood. So I didn't always grow up, like I didn't live in the suburbs growing up. So as an only child, I'm an only child for my mother. My mother was a single parent. So I kind of raised myself to an extent. So grew up really quickly, had to develop really thick skin at a young age, and became very independent. From the time that I was 16, I had my own car, put myself through schooling, obviously with the support of my mother, of course. But yeah, I grew up very quickly and very independent and strong-willed, I would say.
So, how did your and I appreciate the 16 years getting your own car. Oh, that's impressive. So,
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
so um growing up, how did that shape you to be the person you are today? You
Ooh.
spoke about the tough times and the challenges. How did those, or could you focus on one specific challenge that helped you become who you are, or one circumstance that you got through that helped you to be the person you are today?
You know what? I think good and bad, the ways you can look at it, because being so independent, and now I have a spouse and a partner who wants to kind of be there for you and help you. But because I'm so independent, I make it, I think, harder for him to help me and to be there for me. So that's one thing. I think I grew up independent. I worked 2, 3 jobs, not because I had to, but because I think part of me wanted to take that burden off of my mom and just to gain independence. Right. So I've always
Mhm.
had that independence. So now knowing that you have someone else that you can lean on that can share that burden or that load, it's hard for me to sometimes let go of that kind of control. So yes, it's shaped me and molded me and made me who I am today. But I can see how it sometimes is hard for me to kind of let go of certain things. Let
Yeah.
people help me or to
I
ask for help. I'm just like, I got it until I don't got it, you know?
I
So
I definitely understand that because sometimes it's so hard to let go of things you know you have control of,
yeah,
and you're thinking, why should I let go if I have total control over it? If
yeah,
that makes sense,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So can you tell me a person or instance, a person who helped you, help mold you into who you are today? Or you just want to shout them out? Just if you don't want to go totally into it, can you tell me about one person that helped you? Like, okay, they did somebody who didn't know they helped you, or just some interesting story about an incident where somebody gave you some advice, gave you a tip, or a circumstance where you were struggling, and that person helped turn the whole situation around.
Oh wow. Recently I will say, because I'm a fairly new entrepreneur in this space, I never set out to be an entrepreneur. I come from corporate and agency. I spent over 20 something years in the corporate world. And in 2019, October of 2019, I decided to quit my job and kind of stepped away from corporate to do some soul searching. I think I've been going on my own kind of personal development journey for, I would say, about 7 years now, 6 or 7 years. And it was during that time and doing some self reflection, I knew that I no longer wanted to be in the space, in the corporate space and environment that I was in. It wasn't serving me. Um, and so I made a decision to quit my job. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I met an amazing coach and mentor. Like he still mentors me to this day. His name is Edwin Correa. And I don't think if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now because he's someone that really like gave me the confidence and the push and the encouragement that I needed to say, Kadine, you have 16 years of experience in HR. He's like, you don't need to go and work for someone. He's like, go and coach people, go and help people, do it yourself. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, just do it yourself. And I'll never forget the day because being in HR, I have my LinkedIn profile and I always coach this as well. So you don't update your LinkedIn profile until you've arrived at a new opportunity, right? And then you've arrived at that new opportunity maybe for a month, 2 months, but until you're sure, right? Because otherwise it doesn't look good. I mean, even though you can take it down. And we were sitting at a table and he pushed my phone. He goes, if people still think that you're working at this agency, he goes, no one's going to know that you can help them, right? So he
True.
pushed my phone to me and he said, you need to end that. You need to end that opportunity. Let people know that you're available. Go out on your own. And I was like, what? And he's like, do it now. And ever since that day, I've been on my own doing it. And not to say that it has been butterflies and rainbows every day, but I've met so many amazing people. Like I think, started it, but it's been such a transformational journey for me since then. So that's kind of one of the recent experiences that I can share with you in the last 2 years that he was like the catalyst to get me to where I'm at right now, or the start to where I'm at right now.
And shout outs to him.
Yeah, Edwin
That
Korea.
was good
He is like the
advice.
human design coach. So he's awesome.
And I think everybody needs that person that eliminates doubt or cuts your doubt out. I think everybody needs that. And for
I
those
agree.
persons who don't have it, kudos to them because it's hard making that leap on your own when everybody's telling you you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely. So tell me, I want to know, how has your because I know speaking, mentoring, consulting, and just reaching out
Mm-hmm.
to folks, you meet so many different types of people. So how has your endeavors currently helped your community out? Could you share a story with us,
Yeah.
or just how does it make you feel to, to be able to, share some of your knowledge, to give confidence, to help coach
Mm.
people?
So it's amazing. And that's one of the things that I'm so glad that I made this leap and transition, because I'm able to give back. I'm able to help my community more so than I would have been before in the corporate world. So I do speak and facilitate workshops for a couple not-for-profit organizations, to help a lot of Black youth. So I coach them with their resume. I'm coaching 16 right now that are interning in the gaming and video gaming industry. And so it's having conversations with them about, how to talk to their managers, how to book time off, how to upgrade their resume, how to project manage, or time manage their times. So there's at least 3 or 4 different not-for-profit organizations that I'm part of. Another one is Hope for Communities, and it's a lot of young women. So it's helping them. I created a skills development program for them. And now I'm helping them with, even though I'm a new entrepreneur, fairly new, I'm helping them with creating an entrepreneurship program. So teaching them the stepping stones of how to potentially become an entrepreneur. But I've also brought in a business coach, because I don't know everything, obviously. But I brought in a business coach to kind of fill in the gaps where I don't know or where I can't support them. So there's been a couple different opportunities where I've been able to kind of give back and just to share my knowledge and my insights. And that's something that really lights me up, when I feel like I'm making a difference or an impact in people's lives.
And I think that's one of the most rewarding things, to see your work reflected on someone else and
Mhm.
see them progress on their own, or even acknowledge you sometimes, say, hey, you helped me out with X, Y, and Z, and I really appreciate it. And it got me to a
Yeah.
certain point. So I think that definitely, and I like doing that too, just definitely helping people out. And I think that's the reward. And as somebody said, that's the most selfish thing you could do, helping somebody else out. Where are you today, and what are you looking to do moving forward? Like, are you
Mm.
where you want to be right now, or do you have any aspirations to go forward in terms of your mentoring and consulting?
Yeah, so I'm in a good place right now, I would say, but I definitely want to scale my business. I want to be able to speak in front of thousands and impact thousands of lives. So I see myself creating programs or speaking, facilitating in front of thousands, both young adults and females, and inspiring and motivating them, encouraging them. I mean, as part of what you read in my bio is I want to I want people to get out of their own way. I want people to stop wearing masks. I want people to stop, because that was me. Like when people ask me like who's your ideal client? I said I'm my ideal client. I'm speaking to the Kadine that was maybe 10 years ago, who was kind of sleepwalking and mundanely walking through my life and my career. And allowing other people, you're told go to school, get a good education, and do all the things and climb the corporate ladder. But for me personally, after I got there, I was doing very well, and from the outside I looked successful, but from the inside I didn't feel successful. I didn't feel like I was making a difference or an impact. So I want now for people to live their life on purpose, to be passionate and to walk into their passion, and to show up unapologetically as their fierce self, because you know what, we're not for everybody, denied. But that's okay. Your audience is your audience, my audience is my audience. There's someone out there for everybody, right? So that we can all be successful, because who's going to be drawn to you may not be drawn to me. Who's going to be drawn to me may not be drawn to you, right? We have our own audiences in the way that we speak and the way that we reach people. So I want, because I just think, can you imagine if we were all in a world or in a space where everybody was doing what they were passionate about? How
Mm,
amazing this world would be.
yep, that would be interesting.
Right. So yeah, that's my little hope, is that I can just be able to encourage and empower people to do what you want. Like if money wasn't an option, if you had like 7 lifetimes to live, just helping them to kind of narrow it down to that one. But if you had 7 lifetimes to live, what would it be and where would you be doing it, or what would you be doing? And then once they can identify that, I'm like, okay, then let's go down. What would your top 3 be? Okay, if you have 3 now, what would your top 2 be? And then what would the one? If you could focus on one thing, what would it be? So it's just getting people to get crystal clear and to narrow it down, because you can do anything. Anything is possible. So long as you've got the right tools, the right resources, the right guidance to back you and support you. And I feel like sometimes I'm like their cheerleader, right? As a mentor, as a coach, I'm like their cheerleader to say, you can do this. When we come up to a challenge or an obstacle, okay, here's how we're going to overcome that obstacle. And I wish that I had had a coach when I was coming up and starting in my career. I think I would have been leaps and bounds, because I feel like I have progressed so much further in my career in the last 2 years than I have in the 20 something years that I was in corporate. And I want that for someone else, right? So I want to help you get there faster. Whatever your goal and your aspirations are in terms of your career, I want to help you get there faster and achieve that.
Just for somebody struggling now with their job, like they've been in it for maybe not 20 some years, but they've been in it for a while and they want to make that shift. What advice do you have for them in trying to make that little, put that resignation in, or start something on the side that maybe could blossom into something else? What advice do you have for them? Because everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur.
No.
So we don't want anybody leaving their job, being homeless, losing their house. We don't want that. But what are the indicators that would put somebody in the right path to follow their dreams?
I would say baby steps. I think, especially during this time, Denard, I've been saying, like, if you have not used this time, use this time that we've all been kind of gifted with, although it's been challenging for some, to do some self-reflection, to figure out what is it that ignites your passion. What could you do for hours? What are you always talking about or reading? What do you do in your pastime? What did you do when you were younger that you wish you could be doing right now? Right? So I always say never quit something. Even though I did it, I always coach the opposite. I'm always like, find something first, secure something before you leave something, right? But for some, it could be unbearable. If it was a toxic environment, which for me it was, and I was just like, it wasn't worth it for me. And I walked away from it. Thankfully, I had the support to be able to do that. Not everybody does. So do some self-reflection, figure out what would be your number one goal today. And then what are the actionable steps that you need to take to achieve that goal? Continue to dig a little bit further. What are your motivators? What are your demotivators? What are your values? What are your non-negotiables? So that once you get crystal clear on what your core values are, when you're going to accept a new assignment or a new opportunity, if it doesn't align with your values, then maybe now is not the time for that. Or maybe that's an opportunity that you must decline. And that's something that even as a fairly new entrepreneur, I had to do that myself, because I got cold feet in the beginning many times. The income started to dwindle, and I'm like, I've got responsibilities. I have a family. So I would take the odd, HR consulting role here or there, because there's still some aspects of it that I enjoy doing. But as soon as I would get in there, Denard, like a 2 or 3 months in, I was like, why did I do this? I shouldn't have done it, because it no longer aligns with me. It no longer serves me. So I'm doing myself a disservice and the organization a disservice. So I now know that if it doesn't check certain boxes for me, that it's not an opportunity for me. And then other opportunities will come, right? The abundance is going to still be there, but why settle for something that's not going to light you up or set you on the right trajectory to where you want to go?
I definitely agree. But trying to support your family or support yourself and then going into a new career, how do you know when's the right time? Because you need the money, but you're not happy.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? How do you weigh your odds? Like,
it's such an important thing to practice self-care. And I think once you're filled up and your cup is full, then you can pour out to others, right? So if you are feeling depleted, even though you're making the money, that, like, if you're not happy in your career, it spills over into your personal life. If you're not happy in your personal life, it spills into your career. So once you come to a point where you're like, I need to do something, then you need to start taking the actionable steps to make it happen. And it could be something as small as updating your resume. Maybe you try to take a course. It could be networking or seeking out a mentor, making a journal or a plan. Like, in 3 to 6 months, where do you want to see yourself? And what actionable steps do I need to take in order to get there? And know that this document is something that's fluid. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean, but at least you have something written down. Then it's just a matter of you committing and being intentional about the steps that you need to take to get you there. But if nothing changes, if you do nothing, nothing happens, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to actually take the necessary steps to make things happen for yourself, and to surround yourself with the right community as well that can support you on that journey.
And as you say, and I definitely agree. So, what value does community play in your decisions? Because you could be the most positive person in a toxic community, and every time you try and get out, you get pulled back. So, how do you navigate that?
Well, you want to stay away from people that are toxic. You want to stay away from people that don't see your value or don't. And your dream is your dream. It was given to you for a reason, right? So it's not necessarily for other people to get. Because you could say, I want to be a pilot. You're in your 50s, but you want to be a pilot. That dream and that vision isn't for me. That's for you. The goal and the role of others in the community is to support you and applaud you for having that vision. Whether they believe it or not, that's irrelevant, right? But how can you then support me? And if you're not going to support me, then maybe I shouldn't be sharing that dream and that vision or that goal with you. So sometimes you've got to keep it tight within yourself. Maybe you have one or two other people that are, you're confident. It's great when you have a super community that can back you. But sometimes it just takes that one person, that one or two people in your community or in your circle that can support you and say, you know what, I've got you. Whatever you need, even if it's just someone to talk to or to share ideas with or to network with, I've got you.
So true. So true. I agree. And sometimes I feel like a lot of folks come up in such poor conditions in terms of level of thinking, being positivity, and then they don't see a way out of that. So they go with the flow of whatever is around them. And I definitely think trying to get out of that is kind of the first step into, being positive. Find some positive people who think like you, and
exactly,
and
like-minded and like-hearted. Yeah, surround yourself with like-minded and like-hearted people.
Can you tell the audience how to get in touch with you? If they wanted to speak to you, if they wanted to take part in your services, if they wanted to see you one day if possible, because there are folks in Canada also that you may be close to. And if you're gonna be, I'm not sure if you do come to the States.
Not yet, not right now, but thankfully, because of technology and digital, I coach individuals all over the world. I mean, I had a client a couple of years ago that was in South Africa. So the borders don't really stop me because, thank God we have Zoom, we have Teams, we have Google Meet. So there's platforms there that you can still connect. But you can find me. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, not as often, but I'm on Facebook as well. But and you can find me at careercoachk.com.
So any advice you want to give to those persons listening now? Like, I know you give people advice every day, but what's the main pain point that you experience or you get from people on a regular basis? Like, hey, Coach K, I can't do this, or Coach K, I can't figure this out. So what's like the main issue you find, the most prevalent issue you find with clients?
I think the biggest challenge right now is people wanting to find a company that will accept them for who they are, where they can bring their entire being to work. And it really starts with doing some self-reflection on who you are and what it is that you want, and then going after it. Because if you don't know what you want, then no one can help you. So I always say to my clients, like, whether it's an industry or a certain company, and then just do your research. Once you've got an inkling or an idea that you want to go in a certain direction, do your research. Start doing your research to figure out if that is the real area that you want to go into. And then, for example, like I have a couple of clients, they're like, oh, I wanted to get into HR. And I'm like, okay, but what part of HR? Is it in recruitment? Is it in benefits? Is it in payroll? Is it as a coordinator? As an administrator? Like, what do you want to do? So half the battle is figuring out what you want so that other people can help you. Because once you figure out that part, then we can start figuring out, the right actionable steps to get you on the right trajectory for your career.
Hmm.
So it starts with you. At the end of the day, it starts with you. Figure out what you want, and then let the universe and God. I'm a very spiritual person, so then let God start showing you the right steps that you need to take to get there.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, I'll definitely play this back and take some of that advice to heart, and I'll definitely keep in touch with you. I
I
really
hope so.
appreciate having you on. And once
Thank
again,
you.
can you tell the viewers now where to find you and the
Absolutely.
services you provide? So, because I really want to get persons who are searching for that missing link in terms of their next steps so you could be able to help them out. So just
No,
share your
definitely.
information again with them.
Well, first, I just want to thank you so much for inviting me on your platform. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm glad that we finally were able to connect and to do this. So you can find me under Kadine Cooper on LinkedIn. And Instagram, it's careercoach_K. And it's also the same on Facebook and Clubhouse as well. I'm a career coach, a facilitator, a speaker, and a trainer. And my goal and my mission in life is just to help other people to shine, to show up as their true and authentic self, and to figure out that balance between, because I'm someone that, I walked that tightrope, that being that high achiever, you have to have the balance between that and your personal life as well. So.
So true. So thank you so much coming on our on this Voices show. I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you. And guys, tune into the next show. Thank you for watching, and peace.
Bye.